I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Andy-less episode today. He is not with us, our spiritual leader.
Peace and quiet for once.
Yeah, he was, I don't know, too busy being a swinger with the neighbors or some shit. I don't know, stealing their car or something, fishing the keys out of the bowl. I hope you're doing well, buddy, when you listen back to this. I hope you didn't catch anything from your neighbor. But I'm joined by my lovely wife, Ali.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I was good up until like 10 minutes ago. Now I'm not happy.
Why were you not happy? Or are you not happy?
I'm not happy. Because we came back from the gym, I had a shower, washed my hair, obviously. Was feeling good. We had dinner, and then you wanted a Floridora. So I was...
Which is a gin, ginger ale, and raspberry coulis cocktail.
Yes.
Something like that.
And
Delicious, by the way. Try it out.
Yeah. But except for that, the shaker decided to explode in my face. It opened up when it wasn't supposed to, and I got covered in raspberry and gin. Which, how lovely that it sounds, it isn't as lovely, especially when you just finish having a shower, having to jump back in to have another shower.
Look, if you wanted to get covered in a sticky mess, you should have just let me know.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Well, look, I'm always available. All right. Anyway, that's about enough cheer for this episode. I think we should start this one off by... a disclaimer that it could upset some people potentially if you're being a victim of inappropriate sexual harassment in your workplace.
Mm-hmm.
That is sort of the topic for this one in a nutshell. So if you're triggered by that, I don't know, go listen to something else because probably this is not the episode for you.
Yeah.
So what we're going to be doing today is, Ali, you've heard a little bit about the Activision Blizzard scandal, right?
Yeah.
I've
seen a little bit of coverage of it, not fully in depth about it, but from your faces yesterday when you were doing the research, I imagine it is a shitload more than I knew about.
Oh yeah, there's a metric fuck ton here. So for those that don't know, Activision Blizzard is one of the world's largest video game publishers and studios. Basically, like they own a bunch of studios. Blizzard, famously known for World of Warcraft and StarCraft and Diablo. Activision for like Call of Duty. They own like Crash Bandicoot, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Huge. They're a behemoth.
Shitload.
They own, I think they have like 9,500 employees. They own dozens of really world famous like video game IPs. And they have been in somewhat of a shitstorm since July this year.
Yeah.
With sexual assault scandals coming out left, right, and center.
Yeah, it just keeps on piling up. Because I heard about it first, then something about a walkout, and then just more and more and more.
Yeah, and I think what's sort of shocking here is like the size of this company. Like I could understand some of these, well, not understand, but like, you know, it wouldn't surprise me as much if it was like some small startup company where you hear some of these stories like, that's like a startup culture type of, you know, toxic startup culture sort of behavior. Yeah. These guys have 9,500 employees. Since 2015, they've been on the S&P 500, which is basically a stock index of the 500 largest companies in the United States. Yeah. Like, you know, they're a big business. Like the other companies in this exchange are like Microsoft, Apple, Google. And these guys are like listed on that exchange. They're, you know, I mean, they're worth tens of billions of dollars. And you hear these things come out that we're going to get into, and it's just horrific. Yeah, like they're worth, I mean, at the minute, they have just assets alone with like $23 billion. So they're yeah, you know, it's not just a couple of people in a small company.
No.
It's very widespread, which we'll get into. So I guess the key here, or where this really started to kick off, was July 20th this year, 2021. The Californian Department of Fair Employment and Housing filed a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard after collecting numerous complaints about unlawful harassment, discrimination, and retaliation in the company.
Okay.
So basically, employees had been spoken to by the Department for Fair Employment and Housing. They said that like the company has a frat boy culture, which is sort of going back to what I thought it was saying about like a small startup style culture, you know, where there's beer at the office and you This is a bunch of dudes hanging out working, 15 hours a day trying to make something happen.
Yeah.
But obviously not a startup company. So yeah, they had a frat boy culture, and it had been a breeding ground for harassment and discrimination against women. So the following week, so I think it was July 28th, more than 3,000 Activision Blizzard employees signed an open letter to management. So that's a third of their workforce.
Yeah.
Speaking up for victims and making a call for, and I quote, official statements that recognize the seriousness of the allegations and demonstrate compassion for the victims of harassment and assault. So that's what they wanted. Yeah, they wanted the higher-ups to admit and sort of face as what's happened. Reasonable, right?
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, Ali has some educational background in sort of HR, so we'll get a bit of your opinion on some of the the failings here, really. The lawsuit also, because there's a lot of claims in here, and to be clear, basically everything in this at the minute is alleged because it's all before the courts still. Yeah. So obviously you don't take anything in here as like 100% fact. Of course, it may not be, or they may be found not guilty. We don't know.
But allegedly, but probably not.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a big believer of where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a fucking shitload of smoke here, I'll tell you that. So yeah, the lawsuit also claims that effective remedial measures had not been taken by the company in response to complaints. So like basically a failing of HR. People came with complaints and they were just kind of like shrugged off.
Yeah, not caring. Yeah.
Exactly. Activision Blizzard initially came out after the lawsuit, was claimed and came out publicly. They initially came out and said that the lawsuit was inaccurate and distorted, which was what led to the previously mentioned open letter from the employees, because they were kind of calling out the bullshit. Like, no, it's not distorted or inaccurate. This indeed is a problem. I mean, when a third of your workforce signs an open letter, you know it's bad, especially like on this scale. It's not like, you got 10 employees and 3 signed it. You got 9,500 and at least 3,000 signed it. So
yeah, that's fucked. That's what I remember, that Blizzard came out after the initial lawsuit and said that basically, nah. That's what I remember reading about.
Yeah. There's some pretty despicable allegations in here. Let me say that much. So the lawsuit alleges that, and quote, the defendants, in this case is Activision Blizzard, discriminated against female employees in terms and conditions of employment, including compensation, assignment, promotion, termination, constructive discharge, and retaliation. And that retaliation one we'll come back to a bit later, because it might sound a bit odd, but we'll highlight that in a bit. They claim the Californian, what were they called? Department of Fair Employment and Housing. God, what a mouthful. I'm not going to remember that for the whole show. So they claim to have found evidence that women were sexually harassed and that female employees were paid less than the males for similar work. Yeah. Like categorically, not even chalk and cheese type of case, according allegedly to the lawsuit. About 20% of the employees at Activision Blizzard are female, with top leadership being exclusively white male, and women who sort of reached similar levels were worse paid than male counterparts. And again, we're going to come back to this a bit later with an example. Yeah. There were also claims that the company has a culture that forces women to leave the company. It's so toxic that they just they come in and get spat out. Yeah, like burnt masculinity. Out. Yeah, exactly. Basically career destroying. Yeah.
But that's the thing, obviously, because Activision Blizzard is within the gaming community. So it will be mostly predominantly male. I
work in the tech industry. Like, I work with data for a living.
Which is dominated by males.
Yeah, it is. And it's actually hard to find, good female talent.
But where is that, though? What do you reckon?
I just think it's just, honestly, part of me does genuinely believe there is just a thing that males are attracted more to computers and tech. And that's just probably some societal norms, right? Back at least when we were growing up, even with gaming, really, like when we were young, it was only the nerds. And most of there were nerd boys who played games. Or in my case, or who were into computers or into programming. Yeah. And obviously now it's getting more widespread.
Yeah. Well, I remember, obviously, almost was a fetishized almost if you were a gamer and you played games. I played WoW back
like
in
a
the day,
female, yeah.
and people would like they lost their shit. They're like, "What the fuck?" And I'm
You're
like,
a girl in your game?
"Yeah." It's like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
what?
I mean, that's very different these
Yeah.
days, I think. Like, in the last 10, 15 years since we were in high school, it's changed quite a bit. But
Well, yeah, but I still think that is a prominent like problem within the gaming community.
Sure.
It is obviously normalizing a bit more, but there's I don't watch personally gaming streams or any sort of that nature. It's not really my forte. I don't like it, but I also listen to a lot of social media news and am sort of into that realm. So I hear about it. And there are so many problems, especially with Twitch, with female gamers. They're always...
Well, streamers.
Yeah, streamers. There's always a big problem there.
Definitely in the gaming entertainment side of the business. And also, like, just in tech in general, I think it is something that attracts men just in general more than females.
Yeah, no. And I
think there
completely respect that, but I'm thinking more of the aspect that as a female, you get almost fetishized straight away just because you take part of that world, in a sense.
Yeah,
almost.
and I mean, the gaming culture, of course, because it spans so many cultures these days, like within the game, there's not just the thing is, oh, you're a gamer, you're a, there's different scales, right?
Yeah.
So, you got the full neck beard incels who will harass women and it's their fault that they don't have a girlfriend or something.
Yeah.
And will simp. And then you got the simps, and then you got, and then you just got like people, I don't know, like just want to fucking come home after work and play a game for an hour and then get on with their life. And then you got, mobile gamers and kids and whatever, and anything else in between.
Yeah.
But, so it's like, I guess getting back to it, they also the lawsuit also detailed these things called cube crawls, they were dubbed, which sort of came to light, in which male employees would, and I quote, this is from the lawsuit, drink copious amounts of alcohol as they crawl, in quotations, their way through various cubicles in the office and often engage in inappropriate behavior towards female employees. Yeah. So literally just getting hammered and just like going around, the office being sleazebags. This was happening, this is a company that make World of Warcraft and Diablo and Overwatch and Call of Duty, all these top echelon where you would think the best talent, the most hardcore top professionals are going. And that this is what was happening, allegedly.
Frat party.
Yeah, exactly. And again, goes back to my comments about the startup culture.
Yeah.
Getting hammered in the office with your 4 colleagues. But not the case here. There's also claims that male employees would proudly turn up hungover. I guess if you're getting hammered doing your cube crawl. They would also then delegate tasks to female employees while they played games, not built games, but while they played games for long periods while they were hungover. And then there were allegations that some of the male employees even joked about rape in the office.
Jesus.
Which, look, I'm a believer that, I mean, if you listen to the show, I think you can joke about basically anything, but I would never joke about rape in the office or somewhere where I work. There's a time and a place, and, there's a context, and there's, you need to have a filter at some point and know that you need to be in an environment where, everyone's safe to make these type of jokes, and in the office is not that place.
No, did they even have a bloody HR department? How the fuck is this even...
Oh, they did. Yeah, we're gonna get there. Don't worry. These are still just old allegations from the lawsuit, but we're just touching the tip of the iceberg here. It's already a shitload, but we're not even... I mean, there's a fucking shitload left. The lawsuit also claims that high-ranking executives and creators engaged in blatant sexual harassment without repercussions, and that claims that a female employee took her life while on a work business trip.
Oh yeah, I remember that too.
Which was also one of the really big scandals that came out in the aftermath of the lawsuit being filed.
Yeah.
It was alleged that she took her own life due to a sexual relationship she was having with a male supervisor at the time. She had been suffering from continuous sexual harassment in the work, at work prior to her death, including an incident at a holiday party where male co-workers were sending nudes of her around.
Oh my fucking god,
And
what is this fucking high
if
school?
I remember off the top of my head, it was something like she had a butt plug or a dildo or something, but don't take that 100%. I'm trying to go off the top of my head here. This wasn't in the news story where I was just getting back up to speed on this. So yeah, so she took her own life. Allegedly, at least. There was a bit, at least when it first came out, of debate about whether it was due to this or on the work trip or not, but yeah. Anyway, it's alleged in the lawsuit that this happened. The California government also claims that the company's HR department was ineffective, you think?
You reckon?
Yeah, exactly. As the HR personnel were known to be close to alleged harassers. So, you know, they were buddies, right? Yeah. Which I guess is like, come from the HR point of view, like, do they do any training on how do you handle when there's someone that you know has some sort of allegation around, like, against them?
That's the thing, because obviously I'm not fully educated completely. I did an HR assistant course and nothing really was mentioned, but I can obviously, just going through the course and certain thing, my goal is to pursue something sort of more
like a workplace engineer.
Yeah, workplace engineer, workplace environment engineer.
Yeah,
actually.
So making an environment where there's not cube crawls and sexual harassment and nudes getting sent around.
I'm sure I will come across, especially when it comes to personal relationship with people, but at the same time, as an HR person, you need to be able to see stuff in a neutral way. You can't sway.
Either that or you take yourself out. Like, I mean, this is a company that doesn't have like one HR fucking person.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
So if you take yourself out of that
yeah.
situation, you go, okay, well, yeah, he's one of my best buddies. So like, I can't. It's like a judge, right? Like, just like, oh yeah, I own the company that's being sued. Like, no,
you back off.
Yeah, you have to step away.
Yeah,
clearly here it was not happening.
Mm-hmm.
On top of this, so not only were they like known to close alleged harassers, complaints, it's alleged anyway, that complaints were also not kept confidential, which led to retaliation, such as female employees being, and I quote, deprived of work on projects, unwillingly transferred to different units, and selected for layoffs. So that's what I'm saying with that retaliation part. So they were like, if they filed a complaint against someone, they would then actually get fired, basically, or like, you know, moved from, I mean, like, these guys own, I don't know how many studios, but, you know, tens, 20, like dozens. So they'd probably shut, oh, you're working at Blizzard. No, you're not. You're working for this, like, fucking this small time studio we just bought that's making a game no one cares about.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, don't file a complaint.
Yeah.
That's sort of what's being alleged here. And
yeah. You would go to prison for that here in Sweden if you didn't keep that sort of thing confidential.
That could maybe happen here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Like I said, still before the courts. So the, fucking hell, what was it? Department of Fair Employment and Housing. Fucking hell, get easier names, you people. Tried to resolve the matter, actually, like with Activision Blizzard, like before going to litigation. So in early July, they said, hey, like, you know, we have all these cases against you. You know, let's come to like a settlement, right? Like, you know, let's not bother going to the courts. Let's just do it confidentially, and then, you know, you pay your fines and whatever penalties, and then we move on. Well, of course, that didn't happen, did it?
No.
So instead, whatever that department is, the Californian government, they're now asking for a trial by jury, relief of compensatory and punitive damages, unpaid wages, liquidated damages, and other remedies and penalties under the USA's Federal Equal Pay Act. So basically now they're like, well, fuck you, we're going to go after you for like basically everything we can possibly get you for. Yeah. So I assume if these are proven to be true, then the fines are going to be astronomical.
So is it that they wanted to do like a civil suit outside of court, just settle for the money?
Yeah, probably just like a private, they got fined.
Yeah,
for breaching.
And now they want to do a criminal investigation.
Yeah, well, exactly. Now it's going, to a criminal, like, but with jury, or criminal, I don't know, but with a jury, it's going to go to trial, which means there's going to be public airing of information and documents. And obviously in this case, if you're a big company, you might not actually want that. It's bad business. And I mean, and this has had a very big hit to their reputation.
How much have they gone down in, what is it, share prices?
Share price? Oh, they probably haven't, but...
Are you sure?
Oh yeah, I'll check right now. Activision. Oh my god, it's really hard to spell with one hand. Activision Blizzard
stocks.
Yes. Let's have a look. So in the last 6... Oh, okay, yeah, no. So yeah, in July, when did this break? On the 21st or 20th. On the 20th, they were $91.50. They're now 62. So they've lost, what's that, about 30%.
Yeah.
In the last 6 months, they've lost 35% of their price.
Yep.
And before that, they were reasonably stable.
Yeah.
For the last or for the beginning of the year, they were pretty stable in the 90s for most of the year.
Yeah.
So
You don't fuck with stock prices and that sort of deal, because I think we've mentioned this before. So even something as simple as Kylie Jenner saying that she doesn't use Snapchat anymore, and they lost, I think, like almost $2 billion in a day, went down in stock share prices.
Oh, yeah, in valuation.
Yeah. So, and that is just one person saying, "No, I don't like that app anymore."
Yeah.
When you have these sort of criminal allegations against you, it's something different.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, in a way, I guess good on them. I think it did impact some sales of some games. I think so, because this was around the time the Diablo 2 remake came out, about a month or two after this came out publicly, and there were some people that just boycotted buying it. Yeah. Which obviously, as a individual, that's about all you can do. In this case, it is not support them by buying their products.
Exactly.
Which is also a shame, because the people that work on them do great work. Like, they do make fantastic games.
No, they do. But
obviously you can't support the finances of at the end of the day, like, these people clearly are not getting paid properly. Certainly if they're female, they're not getting paid properly. Yeah. So, and on top of all those other fees, of course, the government wants the Activision Blizzard, they're going to go after them for their own court fees. And obviously, I'm sure in an investigation this large, it's going to be quite a sum. Yeah. If the California government wins the case here. So that's sort of all of the allegations from the Californian government. Now we'll get to Activision's response to this when it came out, which I mentioned before. They sort of tried to be like, it's bullshit. So Kelvin Liu, director of corporate communications, told CNN, like just after the lawsuit came out, that the company was taking the allegations very seriously and had launched an internal review, / investigation. However, he did go on to suggest, as mentioned before, that the lawsuit was inaccurate and distorted, stating, quote, "The picture that the DFEH paints is not the Blizzard workplace of today. Over the past several years and continuing since the initial investigation started, we've made significant changes to address company culture and reflect more diversity within our leadership teams." End quote. Which, to me, if you actually break this down, he doesn't say in any way it never happened. He said it's not the Blizzard of today.
No. That at some point it was that, but we've made progress. And
we've
try
made
to get
progress.
rid of that
so that
culture.
means, it doesn't matter, right? We've progressed. So therefore, it's irrelevant. That's basically what it says to me. That's what I read into this. Yeah. It's like, well, maybe some of it happened, but hey, guys, we're different. I promise. This happened some years ago now and doesn't happen anymore. And since we got told of the investigation, we've fixed it.
Assholes, Jesus Christ.
So on July 27th, in response to the lawsuit and the employee petition, the company CEO, Bobby Kotick, which this guy's just a dick in general. Like, even before this lawsuit, I've hated this guy for 10 years.
Okay.
He's just a bean counter that got in charge of a big studio, and he's part of the reason why the video game industry is going to shit. Buying every other studio, trying to monetize everything, fucking new Call of Duty every year, season passes, cosmetics, fucking loot boxes. Fuck this guy. From a gamer point of view, Bobby Kotick, he can go suck a dick. And then you add this on top of it, he should just, be burnt at the stake in a pogrom in fucking town square at BlizzCon.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he issued a public statement on the July 27th, so a week after it came out, to all employees. He said it had been a difficult and upsetting week, and he wanted to recognize and thank all those who have come forward in the past and in recent days. I don't really think you were, Bobby, to be honest, thankful that they came out.
No.
But anyway, Kotick also stated that Activision Blizzard is, quote, taking swift action to be the compassionate, caring company you came to work for and to ensure a safe environment. There is no place anywhere at our company for discrimination, harassment, or unequal treatment of any kind. We will do everything possible to make sure that together we improve and build the kind of inclusive workplace that is essential to foster creativity and inspiration. End quote. So keep this in mind for a bit later with old Bobby over here. He then announced that Activision Blizzard had hired Washington, D.C.-based law firm Wilmer Hale to conduct a review. And this created a bit of a shitstorm as well.
Okay.
Because Wilmer Hale are famous for working with for companies such as Amazon to prevent employees from unionizing. They're known as union busters. So this, of course, came out in the public and came across to people as basically admitting defeat and then going with the strong, like these guys have a really good reputation of like, you know, lobbying and stopping unions and stuff. So they sort of went like, yeah, you basically just got the best defense you could. Yeah. And just threw all the money at it and went, hey, make the problem go away. We know we did it, but just like, hey, we're going to get these guys to, so yeah, that was not viewed so great.
Yeah, no, especially with the whole Amazon unionizing thing. It's also been a big scandal the last...
Yeah, well, this company was, I think it was in Alabama, Louisiana, somewhere down south in the US just before this. Yeah. This law firm, not company, they were helping Amazon. Well, actually, they got the Amazon employees there to vote against unionizing by basically giving a whole bunch of propaganda about how, the union just wants to take your money, you know, they're not going to do anything for you, they're scammers, and basically like manipulating. And coming from a country in like Australia that's very heavily unionized, and here in Sweden that's very heavily unionized, to me it makes no sense. Fucking unionize Americans. I don't get your problem. Then maybe you wouldn't need to work 2 jobs to make fucking enough money to feed your family.
If we're gonna break down US problems in general, we know we'd be here for weeks because we can't solve that mystery of a shit country.
Whoa, we have listeners from there. Jesus
I don't
Christ.
really give a shit. I've already said it before. I don't know what the fuck your problem is. Like, why is your country so fucked up? I don't understand it. Like, I really don't. Like, you're like one of the youngest countries in the world, or a very young country, and you somehow still are completely fucked in every aspect, like everything.
Yeah, well, thanks for your rant.
You're welcome.
I don't disagree, but whatever. So yeah, that was seen as like a basically, you know, being like, yeah, we did it, but we're just going to lawyer up to like get out of this.
Yes.
Because, you know, fuck it, we don't actually care. So it was seen as like a very tone deaf move to go, like the first thing they do like a week later is go to this law firm and sort of lawyer up.
That's what happens when you're a big corporation with a lot of fucking money. Like,
oh yeah. So yeah, Bobby Kotick also pledged to take 5 immediate action parts as sort of, or 5 immediate sort of action steps as part of a commitment to long-lasting change. And they include 1. Providing employee support by investigating each and every claim and providing more senior staff and resources to the compliance and employee relations team. So I guess bolstering their HR, essentially. That's, I guess, the fancy word that they call them. Number 2. Listening sessions to provide safe spaces for employees to speak out and share areas for improvement. Sounds like a fucking terrible idea if I've just been like sexually assaulted. I don't think I want that. 3. Personnel changes in which anyone found to have impeded the integrity of our process for evaluating claims and imposing appropriate consequences will be terminated. Point 3 here. Very important for later on. Okay? Very important. Point 4. Changes to hiring practices to ensure all hiring managers have diverse candidate slates for all open positions.
Yeah.
Number 5. Changes to remove content that employee and player communities have flagged as inappropriate from Activision Blizzard's games. So I guess like hypersexualized or like degrading content in the game, I suppose.
Okay.
Whatever they threw that last one in to make the community happy, right?
Yeah.
So old Bobby here, he's really come out swinging, right? Mm-hmm. Quality leadership of old fucking dick-faced Bobby over here. Well, we'll get back to him a bit later. So anyway, you fast forward another week or so, August 3rd, Blizzard announces, so yeah, Blizzard's sort of half of Activision Blizzard, they're their own game studio, but also like a publisher and all of that. They announce that the company president, J. Allen Brack, was stepping down as leader of the studio. And I'm pretty sure he'd been there from like the beginning or like early 2000s, was in charge of like a lot of the, you know, World of Warcraft, Warcraft, StarCraft,
but this is just
Diablo.
Blizzard.
Yeah, this is just Blizzard. This is the Blizzard side of the Activision business. They seem to be the most heavily hit because I think most people just know that Activision's full of arseholes.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, Blizzard was seen as like the darling of the gaming, but over the last few years, it's been slowly changing. For example, they had an Overwatch tournament. I think it was last year, or no, the year before now, because it wasn't been last year because of COVID.
Yeah.
But there's a big drama because
wasn't
a
there
Hong Kong player came out in support of Hong Kong after winning, and Blizzard like banned him for a month or something from pressure from China, right? The Chinese government. Yeah. So they started getting some bad press from that. Then they announced that they're going to make a new Diablo game, but it was going to be a mobile game, and people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you just want to cash in China, because most people in China, it's a big problem in China, mobile games, because obviously people spend money without really thinking about it. And obviously in China, you got 1.3 billion people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were seen as just cashing in on that. Yeah, they've had a lot of issues lately, right? So yeah, J. Allen Brack stepped down as leader of the studio, and he was replaced by two people. One, a woman called Jen O'Neill, and then Mike Ibarra.
Okay.
Now, Jen O'Neill is the one in this story you need to remember for a little bit. We don't have too much left because I know it's very content heavy, and at the end we'll have a bit more of a discussion.
Yeah.
But there's just so much to get through. So in response to sort of all of this and, the comments from Bobby Kotick, the CEO, the Activision Blizzard staff actually came out on August 2nd in a letter that they shared with IGN, which is like probably the world's biggest gaming website, I think, for like reviews and news.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're the biggest. They actually came out, their ABK Workers Alliance, which is like a group of Activision Blizzard employees. They actually addressed the Bobby Kotick and senior management and rejected the company's response to the employees' demands from, the walkout and the open letter. So they said, quote, "In response to our demands, you wrote a letter to employees expressing a commitment to doing a better job of listening. You said you would do everything possible to work with employees in improving our workplace. And yet, the solutions you proposed in that letter did not meaningfully address our requests. You ignored our call for an end to mandatory arbitration. You did not commit to adopting inclusive recruitment and hiring practices. You made no comment on pay transparency. One of our demands, a third-party audit of ABK practices and policies, was ostensibly addressed by your decision to hire Wilmer Hale to conduct an internal review," so that the law company.
Yeah.
"While we commend the idea of hiring a third-party firm to perform an internal review, the ABK Workers Alliance cannot support the choice of Wilmer Hale as an impartial reviewer." So basically saying, like, if you wanted an impartial reviewer, it should have been up to like us as the employees to determine who does an internal review.
Yeah.
Like a third party, not
you
choosing
lawyering
up that you're paying them millions of fucking dollars. So what are they going to say?
To clean up, basically.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to clean up your mess and then swipe it under the carpet because you're paying them a lot of money. So, and then it goes on to address the ABK Workers Alliance specific issues with Wilmer Hale's involvement in the process and the Wilmer Hale partner leading the investigation, Stephanie Avakian. They do not like her. So even the employees in the company, or at least a group of them, like they're, from what I gather, sort of their work group, almost like their unofficial union, because I think they were like encouraged not. And after this, they were also encouraged after the lawsuit not to unionize. They're like, we need to stick together. We don't need to unionize, and But even the employees are not overly impressed with the choice of Wilmer Hale. Now we move on to someone called Jesse Meshuk, Senior Vice President and Senior People Officer at Activision Blizzard. It came out that he had actually left his role as head of HR, essentially People Officer, right, in January this year. So a bit before the shitstorm, and he'd even deleted his Twitter account.
Oh, okay.
So like I said, they were approached in July from the California government trying to come to a settlement, which obviously means before that they knew about this investigation. It's because they've been working with them probably for several months, a year, 2 years, I don't know. Conveniently, he'd stood down from his role, deleted Twitter, moved on, right? I think he might still be senior vice president, but he at least left the HR.
Yeah.
Now on August 24th, so about a month after the lawsuit now, the California government expanded the lawsuit to also include temporary workers. So at this point, it only included like Activision Blizzard permanent employees, right? But obviously the games industry works with a lot of like sort of freelance or temp workers. They'll come in, like if they're a video game artist, they'll come in for 3 months or 6 months to do a bunch of artwork near the end of the games, like when it's about to be ready for release, right? Obviously in the beginning it's much like programming and setting up animations and all of that sort of stuff and writing the story. Then at the end they come in, they make all the models and do all the textures.
Make it pretty, basically.
Yeah, exactly, they make it pretty, and they're kind of like, and they get chewed up and spit out. They like come into one studio, they work a bit, their contract ends, they move on to the next fucking thing, and they sort of move around a bit.
The freelancer, basically, that just
sort of, like a contractor. They also alleged that Activision Blizzard attempted to directly interfere with the investigation through the use of non-disclosure agreements, or NDAs, more commonly known. They also claimed that documents related to investigations and complaints were shredded by the company's HR department. And of course, Activision Blizzard denies this. But yeah, like that's how inept or evil this HR department is, allegedly. That they actually shredded the documents on these reports.
Yeah.
To make the so then there's no substantial evidence in court. I assume. That's just my opinion of why they would do that. Then, a couple of weeks after that, I said there's a lot, right? A couple of weeks after that, on September 10th, a new lawsuit was filed by the Communication Workers of America to the National Labor Review Board, and it related to worker intimidation and union busting. So now they've got another lawsuit from another group on a federal, I think this is a federal, like, National Labor Review Board. So this is like a group taking it to a federal thing, because right at the minute it's in California.
Yeah. This is more obviously all over.
Yeah, and like I said, this is to do with their like union busting and intimidating employees not to unionize, and even after the lawsuit came out, encouraging them strongly not to unionize, and hey, we need to just band together. Unionizing is the devil. Blah blah blah. So not so good. So then we move into. Wait, I missed this bit. Oh, okay. Well, here we go. There's another juicy bit. Holy shit. I didn't even have this in my notes. Then about a month later, on September 20th, this is 2 months exactly, I think, after the initial investigation came out, the Wall Street Journal published a report that claimed Activision are also being investigated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC in America. They review like stocks and security trading, commodity trading, which included how the company dealt with employee allegations of sexual misconduct and workplace discrimination. The report also alleged that CEO Bobby Kotick, alongside several other executives, had been subpoenaed by the SEC to provide, quote, minutes from Activision board meetings since 2019, personnel files of 6 former employees, and separation agreements the company has reached this year with staffers, end quote. So they want to know, like, what have you been saying in your meetings? What if, we want information on these 6 former employees, and we want to know why you parted ways with certain employees this year. That same report from the Wall Street Journal also claims that the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has also been investigating the company since at least May 2020 around allegations of gender-based harassment, and that Activision is looking to settle with the agency. So they maybe learned from the previous mistake and went, we might just pay some and fuck off. So then in a press release on September 21st, Activision Blizzard confirmed the investigations were taking place and that it was complying with them. The statement reads, quote, "The company is actively engaged in continued discussions with the EEOC, which I guess is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and has cooperated with the EEOC's investigation concerning certain employment practices." So they're really in the fucking shit. I missed this bit when I was researching. Holy shit. They also said, quote, "It also confirmed that it is complying with a recent US Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, subpoena issued to the company and several current and former employees and executives regarding disclosures on employment matters and related issues. The company is confident in its prior disclosures and is cooperating with the SEC's investigation." And the SEC can fuck you, basically. Like even to a company, like they can fuck you, if they want to. So yeah, not good news. So yeah, that's a tidbit I didn't even have. Fuck, that's going to extend this a little bit. Like I said, there's fucking shitload here.
Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, we're getting near the end, people. I know it's a lot, but
it's a lot of information.
Incredible how this big company at least allegedly, is fucked up this bad.
Oh, we'll get to that because I have some opinions.
Yeah, we're I'll say almost done, probably another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
On November 1, they did their earnings call, right? So, coming up to the final quarter of 2021, they do to their board and shareholders, right? So on the 1st of November, during the earnings call, Activision Blizzard addressed the lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
It included a review of some of the actions taken by the company to address the issues as well. And they said, quote, "In September, we announced a comprehensive agreement with the U.S. Equal Opportunity Commission, which is subject to court approval to strengthen policies and programs intended to further improve the prevention of harassment, discrimination, and related content. As part of this agreement, we'll establish an $18 million fund to compensate those who have experienced such behavior at our company," said, end quote, said CEO Bobby Kotick. He goes on to say, or went on to say, "Last week, we've also announced a number of important new workplace initiatives. We announced a zero-tolerance harassment policy company-wide." Very important to the next bit we're going to get to very shortly. "This includes tougher rules and greater consistency across the organization to make certain reports are always properly and promptly handled." Because like we said before, they were not even taken seriously, basically, by the HR departments. He then goes on to say, "Now any Activision Blizzard employee found through our new investigative processes and resources to have retaliated against anyone for making a complaint will be terminated immediately. In many other instances of workplace misconduct, we will no longer rely on written warnings. Terminations will be the outcome, including in most cases of harassment based on any legally protected category. Future employment contract and equity awards will state that termination for these reasons will result in immediate forfeiture of future compensation." That makes sense, right? If you're going to harass people, you're gone. We're not going to give you written warnings, we're going to fire you. Zero tolerance. Keep that in mind.
The zero tolerance, yeah.
Keep that in mind. Okay?
Good old Bobby.
Yeah, good old Bobby. He's really digging himself a fucking hole, I can tell you that much. Then on Tuesday, November 16th, another report by the Wall Street Journal revealed more info about alleged sexual misconduct at Activision. Now, we are actually approaching the end here. They also claimed that CEO Bobby Kotick had stepped in to keep a studio head in his role despite a recommendation that he be fired. So this zero tolerance and this anyone... Wait, where is it? I'm going to find this quote again. So he said this, right? This is in his November 1 earnings call. He said, "We announced a zero tolerance harassment policy company-wide. This includes tougher rules and greater consistency across the organization to make certain reports are always properly and promptly handled." But yet, it is alleged here in this Wall Street Journal article that Bobby Kotick himself, the CEO, stepped in to prevent one of his buddies, head of one of his studios, from being fired of allegations of sexual assault and misconduct. So which one is it, Bobby? Is it zero tolerance? Is it making sure it gets followed properly? Or is it you do what you want for your buddies?
Whatever suits you.
Incredible. These claims led to an employee walkout on November 16th. So that was just this week, 6 days ago's time of recording. And a petition signed by 1,337 employees. Oh, elite. Nice. To remove Kotick as CEO.
Did you say elite?
I said elite. He's at 1337. Come on. 1337 employees at the time when this article was written that I read the elite employees had asked for Bobby Kotick as CEO to be fired.
Yeah.
Or to be removed from the board. To be removed, basically. Basically saying that, what is it? Is it a zero tolerance policy or not? If these allegations are true, there's no way you can be here anymore.
No.
Effectively. It's also alleged that then came out a couple of days after this, during this week, so literally only a few days, I think it was Thursday or Friday last week, that it's alleged that employees had been told by the company that the policy didn't apply to Kotick because there was no evidence to prove the claims.
Oh, what a
but
shit.
we can go into that a bit later because there's actually more that it wasn't in this article. But I've heard some things that's very much alleged and rumors. But we can get into a little discussion at the end here. We're basically done. However, these claims also include that he knew about sexual misconduct claims in the company since 2018. And there was also an allegation from 2006 that he threatened to kill his assistant and left it on a voicemail for them. Yeah.
God damn, Bobby.
Yeah, like I said, he's a dick. Again, all alleged, but fuck this guy. And now, to add the icing on top, shareholders are now asking that he's removed from the company, including the board's 2 other longest-serving members, and they're asking that they retire before the end of 2021. So
Has he said anything yet?
No, I don't think so. This was literally like on Friday or something, so it's very fresh news. So remember I mentioned Jen O'Neill a bit earlier?
Yeah.
So she announced that in August, I think it was, she got promoted to co-head of Blizzard or whatever. Mm-hmm. Replacing Alan or whatever the fuck his name was. Well, in the very beginning of November, just after the earnings call, they announced that she's leaving the company.
Okay.
After only a month or so, 6 weeks or something of being promoted. And then this week, she came out and alleged that she was only offered, so after all the shitstorm, right? She was only offered equal pay with her fellow co-head Mike Ibarra after handing in her resignation. So she was going to share the role with this guy. This shitstorm had come out about women's rights and not being paid and sexual harassment, and then they didn't even pay her the same until after she handed in her resignation, and then they offered to pay her the same amount. That's just the last point I have here. That just highlights. I mean, again, this is alleged, but she said this. She came out and said this week, or last week. So yeah, that's one of the world's biggest companies, people. I think probably the world's biggest or second biggest video game company, I think.
Yeah. It's at least one of the most known, except for Nintendo.
And I mean, this has only been, 4 months since the lawsuits came out. They haven't even gone into the courts yet. So there's just going to be more added on top of this. And obviously there's more lawsuits coming by the looks.
Yeah. Just
there's a lot more that's going to come out. But all right, so that was a lot of talking from me. So what's your thoughts and opinions and perspectives?
No, it just completely just baffles my mind how these like these big corporations, how they can't have a structure within these companies when it comes to shaping out, hire your body to do like important roles. And I just think of this, obviously, just us imagining like you wanting to start your own company and stuff like that, and how we're going to structure it, telling Alex like, well, if I were to help you out, I can't work next to you, I can't judge you, because obviously we have a personal relationship. That wouldn't work.
You'd have to step back.
Yeah. And this is just us talking in our fucking little apartment, just talking about our future dreams. But
and we actually did have this discussion 6 months or about a year ago now.
Yeah. Like a proper discussion, how we would structure it, what we would have to do.
Because I was thinking of like potentially starting a company.
Yeah.
And like, we probably need HR.
Yeah. And obviously, like I said, but I'm not working with anything related to you. We would have to have a bigger team. Like me overlooking stuff, yeah, sure, but not when it comes to you. And this is just us, like I said, talking about potential things happen down the line. But these are people with actual money, massive corporations. How the fuck is this frat boy, bloody Wolf of Wall Street movie fucking mentality actually happening in these offices?
Yeah.
It's bloody ridiculous. But I think it also comes down to where obviously this is happening in America, where there is a big problem with just in general being an employee there just seems to be fucking the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah. It sounds like it's fucking terrible. And this is a company with a market cap of, at the time where we're recording this, $48.46 billion.
Yeah.
So like I said, they're on the S&P 500. That means you are effectively one of the 5 biggest companies in the United States.
Yeah.
And they make up something like 72% of like all fucking revenue or something in the United States, stock market.
Yeah.
Like they're one of the companies that contribute to this.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing. It's like it's so sort of almost, because you can talk about Amazon as well, that because they've been in a lot of scandal over the last few years with employment, treatment, and pay and stuff like that. Obviously,
absolutely.
The pee breaks and having to poop in a bag and I don't know what the fuck else.
Yeah.
But that all still comes down to obviously the US being one of the most richest countries, but still in a sense not give a fuck about their employers.
Employees.
Yeah.
But also, like, Amazon's a bit different because they're just cunts to everybody.
Yeah.
This seems very specific, very targeted towards women.
Yeah, but it's
Like
that's that mentality.
Like, at least in Amazon, they're dicks to everybody. Like, no one can take a piss.
No,
You're basically a robot. You're a piece of a meat that might as well just be a robot.
Yeah, you're just part of the meat grinder, just like...
Yeah, you're just part of there so that to give Bezos life force so you can keep on living and go into space with William Shatner.
Keep going into space, fucking idiot. Yeah. But obviously, yeah, I really don't understand it, though. How it can be. It obviously has to do, in this case, with what we talked about earlier, that obviously the gaming community or just tech in general is heavily dominated by males.
Yes.
And I would say also in part of that community, just in general, when it comes to tech and gaming and all that, is also where the incel community was sort of born
the
out
old
of.
neckbeards.
Yeah. So there is a pattern there that obviously you have a culture that comes in with something as big as this, but then you all of a sudden give them money and power and they become a different type of monster.
Well, and it's also like a lot of these people, the heads of like Activision or the heads of Blizzard, like they've been there a long time. Like they're like founders of these companies. Blizzard, I think, was founded in like the early 90s.
Yeah.
Then they got bought in like 96 by Vivendi Games, who then they merged with Activision to make Activision Blizzard, and then they dropped Vivendi and called it Blizzard on the other half of the name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like these are guys that they kind of just owned the company from when it was a bunch of just like dudes in their basement, like 10, 20 guys making like the original StarCraft and the original Warcraft game to like obviously now, and they probably don't actually have the skill set to like be the head of fucking HR. They were just like, it was fine when they were in a small company and they knew everybody personally by name. But then it kind of like, they didn't have the training and they probably should have just given someone else those roles. And we're like, okay, like this company now has 5,000 employees, whatever. I'm not equipped to be the head of this department.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, like once you make money, like if you do start a company and you're literally the one like from its infancy, nursing it and bringing it up to something, but it actually starts growing and becoming something as big as what Blizzard
and booming.
And booming at that point. That's at the point where you need to just hand over the fucking rails to somewhere else and that actually knows how to run a company. Yeah. Hire people that actually are like meant to do those types of roles, because you can't do it. And how smart even you think you are, but it's just there's so much that you don't.
Honestly, it's incredible, right? Like, because the company I work for, like, we're aiming to go public next year, I think, or the year after. Right? It's public knowledge now, so I'm not sharing anything I'm not supposed to. And like the amount of like compliance work we have to do in order to get there, like government oversight, you have to tick all these boxes, right, to get, like, these are a publicly traded company, so they have to have these systems in place, and apparently they've failed on every possible, well, allegedly, not apparently, they haven't been sued or found guilty yet, but they've basically failed on every possible step, certainly on the people side of their company, which is incredible. Like, I see what we have to go, we have a company of like a bit over 200 people.
Yeah.
These guys have 9,500. Like, they should be like a well-oiled machine by now. They've been around a long time.
Yeah.
But apparently they've been failing for a very long time because, they're getting sued left, right, and center. They're being investigated. They've settled. Even the SEC's after them now, which is potentially a big problem. Yeah,
but that comes down to just the money mentality of it all and keeping your buddies in the loop and that sort of bullshit. Like, I don't know, I think I learned quite early on, like, when it comes to mates at work, like, do not work with your fucking mates. Like, it rarely fucking works. And if you do it, like let's say in this instance, like, you were a couple of mates, you started something, but like I said before, just once you get that big, hand over the bloody reins to someone else. You can still be the face of the company and everything, but like when it comes to the actual doing of handling stuff in the office day to day, you should not be fucking involved.
Yeah.
Especially if it comes down that you have friends that you started a company with. No. Like, it's just stupid. It's not Bobby.
Yeah, I actually just brought something up. There is, as of 9 hours ago at the time of recording, Bobby Kotick has allegedly said he will consider leaving.
What a twat.
But the reason I actually was researching while you were talking is because the issue as well with this particular guy is that he is a bean counter.
Yeah.
He is not a gamer. Like, he's not, like, say, for one of the heads of Blizzard who was a developer, a founder, a fucking actually made the games. He was brought in to make them become the size of the company they are now. Like I said, $49 billion market. Yeah, he's a bean guy. He's there to make money. He's just there to bring... He was a director at Yahoo, for goodness sakes, in the early 2000s when they were booming. Coca-Cola Company, I believe. Yep, he's been on the board of Coca-Cola Company. He's a bean counter. He's basically there. He's a businessman. And that's the problem as well. Yeah, but he's just there to make money for shareholders.
Yes,
and
but
of course,
he knows where to cut corners to make the more amount of money.
To make more money, yeah. And but that's what I'm going to say. What the relevance of this, in my mind, is. So remember, I said before about the calls for him to step down, and why they basically said that the zero tolerance doesn't really apply to him because there's no evidence. Blah blah blah. I heard, listening to another podcast that I listened to about guys who are in the industry and gamers and who know the news and all that, and they said that the rumor is, or the thoughts are that the thing is, of course, he owns stock in Activision Blizzard, right? And the rumor is, anyway, unfounded, of course, is that the problem for the company is he owns so much stock is that they literally cannot afford to pay him out to get rid of him. Because he might own more than 50% of the company that's worth $50 billion, right? So how do you... they literally could not afford, without him agreeing to step down or to retire, they cannot afford. That's sort of what I heard, is that they basically cannot afford...
They can't fire him.
To force him to leave, yeah. He would have to agree and make an agreement with them, and I'm sure that, they might, like, take back some stocks for, like, less money because of him. It's, like, kind of admitting that it was his fault. But, like, yeah, he owns so much of Activision Blizzard that's why they couldn't force him to step down when those allegations came out, because they literally cannot afford to buy the shares back off of him to get rid of him.
How stupid is that?
It would be very common in a lot of companies. Guarantee you.
God.
Imagine Tesla trying to tell Elon Musk to leave. He owns so much of their stock, it's like basically impossible. And that's also the problem when you get these really good stock options and you're the fucking CEO and you have all this money. So you get a really good stock option because you can afford to buy all the fucking stock all the time, and you keep buying more and more of the company. And then if you ever turn out to, allegedly anyway, do things like this, they can't make you leave because they cannot afford to buy the stock back to get rid of you.
Fucking shit show.
So yeah, like I said, this is what I heard, and to me it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's probably why they were like, well, it doesn't really apply to him because we literally can't afford to get rid of him without him agreeing to step down, which allegedly, as of a few hours ago, he might do. Maybe by the time this comes out, he agrees to leave, I don't know, or to retire. Even then, he owns so much of the company, he's going to get a very nice severance package, and he'll never be wanting for anything, right? Like, unless he gets some criminal charges from this, which I don't think he will. Unfortunately.
He'll live a comfortable life the rest of his life.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to sort of throw in there, that...
Bloody Bobby.
Yeah, he owns... That's what I heard. And to me, that makes a... Yeah, 85% of his compensation in 2018 came through stock and options. And in 2018, he had a package worth $31 million in salary, bonuses, perks, stocks, and options.
Fuck.
So again, and he's been the CEO for, like, I think since they merged in 2008 or something. Like, he's been there a long time.
Yeah.
Very long time. And that's why, to me as well, this, like, that's also the problem in the gaming industry or in tech in general. When you just get bean counters, the people that are just there to churn out more money for shareholders, which of course in this case is also himself.
Yeah.
This is what happens. There's no passion for gaming. There's just a passion to generate money. There's no care for people. And it happens in any industry, not just the gaming, but there is no passion here from him. I don't think so. It's just, he's just there to make more and more money for himself and his shareholders and his buddies. That's my opinion of him. Which is, like I said before we even got into the details, why I haven't liked him since he fucking was the CEO of this company, because all they've done is just churn out shit.
Yeah.
And to make money, microtransactions, fucking cosmetics, yearly things, season passes, like, fuck off. We don't need this.
Yeah.
What happened to just buying a game and owning it?
Yeah. No,
and
I
then
remember
supporting your product.
I remember I just quit playing WoW, for example, because it was just too much fucking shit. And it just was constantly just adding a bunch of bullshit that didn't need to be there. And yeah. And what was the latest? I don't know, that I heard that apparently they went back to do like back to the vanilla style, like back in the
They
day.
released a vanilla.
Yeah.
WoW vanilla, yeah.
It's just like, for
Like
fuck's
last
sake.
year, 2 years ago now, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that about wraps this one up. I just saw another ridiculous thing here. So Activision's Blizzard share price since March 2016, he triggered some bonus. Kotick triggered a bonus because they got a 180% increase in share price. He got a bonus worth approximately $200 million, allegedly. But the company has never actually disclosed, at least on this citation in Wikipedia, of when, like, of the actual value.
Yeah.
So that, again, that's probably in stock.
Fucking hell.
So yeah, you can see why he probably didn't get that. But maybe he will step down. We can only hope. But yeah, it sucks. Like, it would suck, right? Like, if you're a kid growing up and you love Blizzard games or Call of Duty and you're like, I want to work there. And then it turns out to be like the worst fucking place on earth to work.
But wasn't there like a lot of other gaming? No, I think I'm just thinking about the manga industry. Which is also like something that a lot of people look forward to because they
have a genuine passion.
Yeah, the passion of drawing and animating and stuff like that. But it's a completely horrid business.
But we did an episode on that, one of our very earlier ones.
Yeah.
Episode 10 or something. Go back and listen to that if you're interested. But yeah, I think that's enough of this depressing thing. I just thought it was like such a relevant thing right now that I thought it's good to talk about, and it's a very serious thing, and it's pretty, like I said, it's going to probably keep going. There could even be an update episode in another year, who knows, like when more shit comes out. Like follow-up piece.
Let's just hope that if any of these allegations are actually true, that at least the people that were victims of this bullshit, because that's what it is outright, you shouldn't be exposed to that at a workplace, get the compensation that they need, because it's absolutely horrible. Bobby can
pay him out of his pocket. He gets $30 million a year. I just read here he gets paid 319 times more than the average salary of a Blizzard employee.
But that's the thing. It just makes me like, it makes me sick.
Jesus. Well, yeah, all right, that's enough. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. I know it was very info sensitive or info dump, but there's so much to get through.
Yeah,
a very sensitive topic. Hopefully, like you said, they pay through the arse and they actually change things for the better. Oh, and she's returning from a little pee break. Couldn't wait literally 45 more seconds. And
sorry, that floor door went straight through me.
Yeah, all right. Well, where can they find us on Instagram, Batman?
Yes, you can follow us at @random.podcast, so at@random.podcast on Instagram.
And on Twitter, we are @_randompod. And on that note, I guess we'll sign off. We'll probably have our spiritual leader back next time. We missed him coughing and burping and
the stuff you don't hear because I edited it out.
His very deep, warm laugh that he has. We missed the spiritual leader. He'll be back next week, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. And follow this. Keep your eye on this news. And don't buy their games.
Yeah.
That simple.
Fuck Blizzard.
Yep. Fuck Blizzard and Activision.
Blizzard,
both
Activision.
of them. It's technically one company, but fuck them both. See ya.
Bye.